Shweta.
It's so good to see you. All right, perfect. So, thank you guys for joining. It's first of all just you being here. It's heartening to see that there is whether you want to nominate yourself or not. So, you being here is not at all being presumed as you want to nominate yourself. It's just that you're interested to know what AGB is. That is all very clear, I think, to all of us. Please excuse me if I sound a little breathless, but I have like this really bad like allergic reaction bout right now. So I'm kind of struggling. But yeah, I mean, the Action and Governance Board, first of all, just as a context, everyone knows that last year was our first year. And we started off, I think, on a very strong foot. We had a very good set of AGB. A lot of people have asked me, and Ankur, why is it called AGB? Like, why is it Action and Governance? Like, what does that even mean? Um, I think it's a very self-explanatory title. Both Ankur and I were quite keen that this governance or committee is not just another set of people who have a title and are just sitting there, because we all know that there are a lot of committees and a lot of different organizations across the world, but they need to first act. That's very, very important. So action for us is over governance, execution is over strategy. And I think if you've seen in the last year and a half, one of the things that TOC's come to know for, been known for, is to really execute things, is to really get things done, whether it's learning sessions, retreats, some of the smaller projects. But we think there is much more scope, and this is a very important year for TOC in many ways. We have restricted and limited the membership so that we are able to do justice to the 250 odd folks who are here. We're not in the game to go to like 500,000 at this point. We're very focused that the 250, 260 members that are a part of TOC are really getting the best professional development, learning, and networking opportunities in this part of the world, whether it is through our own initiatives or through collaborations, whatever it may be. There's enough talent in the group to drive it. And there is literally, Ankur and I have started, but there's really, beyond a point, there's really not much that we can do to drive it further without the support of good leaders. And so with that, the Action and Governance Board is very, very critical. In all transparency, the advisory last year was okay. I'm saying this being politically incorrect, was fine. But we do expect that this year the advisory and the AGB plays a much stronger role in the growth of TOC. With that, very quickly, we will move to what are the roles and responsibilities of the AGB. It's quite simple, really. And I'm just going to read this out. Give me a second. I seem to have lost the, yeah, there it is. Okay. So the first thing is, if you look at the way it functions is last year, the Action Governance Board had only 6 or 7 months. They didn't actually have a full tenure. And so what ended up happening as a result of that is that they were not able to probably, sort of deliver more and do more because they had a shorter time, obviously. But this year, there's a full term, which is great. The first thing is to help identify key goals and priority areas for the duration of the tenure. And so while we have certain overarching goals as TOC, we really want that the AGB comes in and helps refine and define the goals for this year. That is very, very important. Ankur and I have certain goals in mind, but we want the AGB to come in and say, okay, this is how and this is what we should be focusing on. Uh, Understanding not just the pulse of the members, but their own better sense and experience of what is needed for TOC. Once the goals are identified at a group level, at a TOC level, we keep talking about following your skills, your passion, do what you love, etc. And we understand that not everything is going to be of interest to every member in AGB. There might be some who are deeply passionate about learning and development. There are others who are passionate about fundraising. There are others who are passionate about partnerships, communications, operations. There are different tranches in all of this, right? So we want the AGB each member to identify what area is closest to their heart. But once you do that, we want them to really drive the goals under that workflow. And the goals under that workflow also will be sort of defined by that member with a few other subcommittees or interest groups that we plan to form for each of these tranches. The third thing is to motivate members to participate and get involved in different projects and opportunities. There is a lot of talent in TOC. There is also a lot of learning in TOC, but in the last year and a half, and like it is with any group, there are some who are more vocal, more able to express and articulate, and then there are others who are still waiting and watching. They might be new members. They might, they might not be sure of how they can contribute, whatever it may be. The idea is advocacy, but not just external, also internal. And how do we get members to be more participative and really bring their best to the table in whatever way they think is right? But it's to constantly encourage members to be active. Um, the next is, of course, the external advocacy, which I already spoke about. We're not talking about like canvassing campaigning, because we're not looking for new members at all at this point. But it's definitely about setting, certain, say if there are questions and there's interest, there's a lot of interest. People want to know, what is TOC? What do you guys do? The one question I get the most, how is it different from IC3? How is it different from something else? And so the first thing is for AGB members to get that right themselves. And so they're able to sort of form that narrative as they go out and interact with other people, right? The second last point is to consistently uphold the highest standards of learning and development opportunities. And I know this is very subjective. What is high standards? What is low standards? I think, yes, it is subjective. There are sessions which some people love, and I might personally be like, okay, I already knew this. Or there are some sessions where people where this was no great chicks, and I'd be like, oh, wow, this was amazing. So it's so subjective, right? Learning opportunities. But the idea is, are we putting our best foot forward and bringing, it's not about new topics. It's about anything we discuss. Are we going into the depth? Are we really peeling layers of the onion, or are we just saying the same thing again and again? Is the speaker an expert, or are they truly passionate about what they're saying? Have they done their research? Is the prep on point? I mean, so every learning and development session that you're seeing in the last couple of months since the retreat, obviously, since we don't have an AGB right now, and even before we had an AGB, Ankur and I drive it very, very closely, and we are very particular about who comes in and who says what and who speaks, because this is a very well-informed set of people, and we all attend conferences all the time. So we are well informed. We know more or less, but we do feel like we are not going beyond the surface in conference conversations. So how do we reimagine learning and development and go in depth is very, very important. This is something, as you can see, I'm very, very passionate about. The last but not the least is to strive for a healthy collaboration between different members. I'll give you examples. As a member of AGB, you are likely to get calls or messages from members. You have to draw your own boundaries on what you entertain and what you don't entertain. There is no like mandate that you have to be available to people, or I mean, there's no such thing, right? But you will end up getting some people reaching out to you to ask you things. Maybe it could be a contact, it could be whatever. The idea is, if we were to move with the intent that we want people to know each other so that they're able to explore and perhaps end up doing some good work together. I know every single person in this session has met at least one person in TOC in the last year and a half that they have been able to connect with, brainstorm with, perhaps come up with some good ideas or work on something or have a business collaboration and opportunity, whatever, right? How do we proliferate that and make sure that more people are able to connect with other members and encourage that, right? So this is the long and short. We will also circulate whatever I've just said, we'll circulate it in a document, but I just want to give you an overview. I'll take a pause. Ankur.
I think thank you, Bhakti, for just setting the context with the role and the responsibilities. Before I jump in, if there are any questions around the role anybody has as of now, anything that somebody wants to come in and say. No one. So perfect. So I think apart from what the JD looks like, I have my own. I mean, both Bhakti and me have our own learnings from last year, and when we first time institutionalized AGB and advisory, and Bhakti, hinted a bit towards the working dynamics that we found in both the groups within AGB and advisory. So we have our learnings from there. But one of the things that I would like to emphasize also here is that it's very tough for smart people to start working together, and that's why TOC came into the picture. Is that we want the best of the people to be happy in collaboration rather than competing. Sometimes it becomes a challenge for us also to see that in action, like in any project in college we used to do. In a group of 6, 2 will be active, 2 will not be active, 2 will not be even bother. So same dynamics plays out in this. This is our experience till now. And again, I'm being very politically upfront and correct. Nahi hu main. But this is what I've seen in my last 6 months in the AGB and advisory. And it's okay. I mean, we are okay with it. We can't force people. But what we really want is that when you come into AGB or any leadership role, either we nominate you or you come to the election process, because this year we have 4 nominations, 4 elections process. So whichever way you come in, you should come in with a clear head. Yes, I want to collaborate. I want to work with other people in the group. But if the collaboration is not happening, I don't give up. I continue to contribute in my own capacity, and there are examples where people have continued to contribute and they have stood out through that process. But other people not contributing or not collaborating with you should not lead to you taking a step back. And we have heard people say कि अरे यार मेरे को ज्यादा feedback आ रहा है कि I'm in lot of limelight, I should not be doing much of it. ये सारे experiences हमारे पास आते रहते हैं. So I want to say this thing. There is people tell 10 things about each other. Let the grapevine be what it is. We want people who are focused on their work and really want to do something which they think that this platform can give them, whatever it is. But you are adding to the larger community growth. That is the proposition that I want all of you who are here and also who are listening into the recording later. The second thing that I want to address is that a lot of the time people get very, odd of the process of AGB. I mean, we removed the video part of it yesterday because a lot of people said, "Arey, video hai, I'm very conscious in front of camera. I don't know." So we realized that people get very conscious of even recording themselves. So we removed that. So that shows our flexibility as founders, that we are okay with people who this may be the first time that you are standing up for an election. It's very tough to put yourself out there and say कि यार मेरे को vote चाहिए. And I remember International ACAC 3 years back, I had stood up for an election. They asked me to record a video. I was conscious. When I go back to that video, and I also lost that election on a global front. So I know that feeling that goes in your stomach and you feel, yeah, people are going to judge me and they're going to see my video and whatever. But AGB is such a small community. We are not 1,000 plus community member, 2,000 plus. We are just 250 plus people. Very closely knit. That is the beauty of it. So don't be conscious about, video to ab ho hi nahi raha hai, but don't think twice. If you are going to do it for the first time, I think this is the smallest and the most close-knit community that you can start toying with the idea of, okay, what if I stand for election, what is it? Or if I get nominated. I think these are my 2, 3 things. And third thing is, before you think of the biggest ideas in TOC, I mean, a lot of people, and me and Bhakti were meeting before this meeting, were thinking, a lot of people come and tell us, ये भी क्यों नहीं करते TOC में, ये भी क्यों नहीं करते, you should do this, you should do that, but then we don't see follow through. Yes, there are 10 things that we can do in TOC, but we also want people that can follow through with those ideas. And your excuse cannot be कि Ankur, you didn't give me time. Yeah, Bhakti, you were so busy. today in the afternoon, I got an email. One person who had met me in Bombay had given me a fantastic idea and told her, please go ahead, do it. For 50 days, she was silent. Today, I got an email. She's like, oh, we were to discuss that idea and you have not given me time. So I'm like, bhai, 50 दिन तो follow up में लगे आपको मेरे से आने में. So these are practical problems that I face. There are so many issues in the community. There are so many ideas, but we don't see people following through with those ideas. You don't want to follow through with an idea, don't give an idea. चलो ठीक है, you don't give an idea and say, put me in the box and say कि अरे ये क्यों नहीं हो रहा TOC में, ये क्यों नहीं हो रहा. But if you are giving me an idea, I want you, and Bhakti wants you to follow through with that idea. We will give you the complete freedom. And you know Ashima is here, and she worked really, really hard last year with the entire AGB, and she has been throughout with us. I think one of the stars from that committee.
Yeah.
She knows both me and Bhakti work in a very free flow style. If there is an idea to execute, and we feel that just a call away we are, and we feel yeah, kar do. And if there is the other end, there is a person like Ashima, she will do it. I mean, and the project Prabhav and a lot of other things that she took were like just a phone or an email, and we said, please enable it. That is the spirit that we need, that people really take ownership and then execute rather than finding issues, they find solutions. And that's my two things. I think back to you, Bhakti.
Thanks, Ankur. And I just want to also pick up on the point that you made of ideas, right? I feel like ideas are great. And I think without ideas, there would be nothing. So, yeah, share ideas, please. I mean, run them by. You need a sounding board, not just us, but anyone in TOC, other members of AGB, whoever it may be. But then before we make a pomp and show of it, like let's get it done before we talk about it, is very, very important. We don't want to start talking about things that are not happening. That is one thing we definitely want to steer clear of in TOC, that we don't want to create like these pipe dreams of things that might not even happen. There are a lot of things in the pipeline. We are in conversation with a lot of people, but till it does not come to fruition, we are not going to talk about it. So I think that's the ethos, really. Find someone to collaborate with, because not everyone is damn good with execution, and that's okay. Everyone has their own skill set and strength in levels of execution also, and ideation. So it takes two to tango, and that's where the collaboration bit comes in. So if you're able to find someone who is able to help you execute what you're thinking of, great, do it, right? A couple of other points very quickly, and the reason we are sharing this is important. These are learnings. We just want you to be very clear about what we have experienced. No job is too small. In a community as small as TOC, we are the spot boys, and we are the directors, and we are the actors, and we are everything. Okay. So I know for a fact that for the longest time, Ankur and I, so I'm going to just bust the myth, Ankur. There is no admin team, guys. Ankur and I are the admin team. So when you say write to admin, the reason we say write to admin is because we cannot process things on WhatsApp. So we need a place for people to write to, so we're able to keep a track of what's coming in. We are the admin. We create Zoom links. We create descriptions. We get on calls with people who submitted session proposals. We are responding to all the emails that we get. So but we do it because we know that this is the only way right now, and there's really nobody else. And yes, can we hire admin help? We tried. We really did. We hired someone. It didn't work out. And maybe we have to try again, right? Yes, we need to get some admin help. But the point is to create a Zoom link. I remember this, and I'm going to say this. There was literally a conversation last year on the AGB group for a session where they were like, who is going to create the Zoom link? There was a 15-minute conversation. I literally, at the end of I was just waiting to say, I was like, kya? And everybody had a login, everybody had the details, everybody had it. At the end of it, I just created the Zoom link and I was like, here you go. It was a 30-second job. So point is, it's not about ye mera kaam hai, ye tumhara kaam hai. If you have a startup mindset, and no, this is not a second job. This is not that second job that you're going to sign up for. But if you're really passionate about it, you will end up doing things, right? And it's just smart. Like, just create a Zoom link. You have the login. and the password. Just create the damn Zoom link. Or just tell me, Bhakti, create the Zoom link. I'll create it. It's no big deal, right? So no job is too small. That's point number one. The second thing really is availability is important. Look, we don't expect people to give 10 hours a week or any such nonsense, right? It's not that. It's reasonable. It's as and when. And we understand that sometimes people will have more and sometimes they'll have less availability, and that's fine. But we cannot have AGB members, which also happened last year, someone telling us, I'm not available for the next 4 months out of a 6-month tenure. And we were like, okay, 4 months. And we were like, okay, fine. It's all right. Okay. What can we say? But I'm saying, just don't, like, it's not like a chilled out, like, matlab, kuch bhi chalta hai, you know. Also, this is not just a LinkedIn update. I think it's okay even if you don't update your LinkedIn. We don't really care. Um, just this is a year-long responsibility which we want you to enjoy. Do with your heart. Take it up as your own startup. Imagine a space where you can think of like 100 ways to add value, of things that you want to talk about, the things that you want to see, that you want to manifest in our space. Imagine it's a free hand. Like, how exciting is that, right? You're not waiting for any, like, validation, or you're just doing it. It's beautiful. And last but not the least, understand the impact of your position. I think now this year's AGB really needs to understand that you will you are standing for a small but a significant group of people who are making the right waves in the right direction, and people are taking notice. So it is a lot of responsibility to make sure that we are all very conscious of that responsibility and driving it in the right direction. So yeah, I'm going to shut up there, and we've said a lot. Any questions, guys?
So, Bhakti, I think there are no questions. Everything is clear.
No,
Great.
wait.
So,
Some chat. Yeah, go
uh,
I
ahead.
have some very
Bata.
basic. I have some very basic questions. Sorry, and this might be because there are messages on the group which I haven't read. One is, does it do you apply for a specific role? Do you just apply for AGB and then you get allocated roles? And I guess how competitive and scary is the process? Because I think, Ankur, you might have underplayed it. I didn't apply last year only because it felt so scary.
I
No,
know
no.
it takes some effort
No, but
for us
I'll
to
just
put us.
I'll just
अभी भक्ति
answer.
तुम बोल देना. I just want
Uh,
to add here because my
uh,
experience is when I did
uh,
international ACAC, it was a scary experience. Just to
mm.
record that video, I was in Jindal. I had to take 10 takes, 11 take. They took my video. Then also I was not sure of my pronunciation. How do I look and whatever. So it is, and then you are judged by people, are isko vote kitna mila or whatever we do. So I can understand it's a scary process. But as I said, it's a very small community. It's about 250 people. If you are going to do it, I think this is the smallest group of people and close knit people that you can do it for in front of. But yes, it is a little scary. It is not normal. And Bhakti, over to you for your thoughts.
So two parts, right? The first part of your question is, do you apply for a role? So it's AGB, right? And the AGB has multiple workflows under it. And the workflows are also fluid depending on the skill set and interest areas of the AGB of that year. So last year, the AGB, we had 6 members in AGB. This year, we're planning to expand it a little bit more, but it depends on, how many nominations, etc., that we get. So the idea is that whoever is coming in, what are they passionate about? Because at the end of the day, these 7, 8, 10 people are representing these 250. So there is a very clear pulse that you're representing. And we know that communications is an area, learning and development is an area, and advocacy is an area. These are 3 major areas for us. And operations, which is essentially tech, etc., if someone's interested. Wherever you are most interested, you say, this is the direction I'm moving in. And so we will, when we have the AGB forming, that coming together will essentially identify who wants what and then club people accordingly. That's how it happened last year also. There were 2 people who said we want to do L&D, 2 people said we want to do operations, etc. So it totally depends. The second part of your question is, how scary is it? Like Ankur said, this is probably the least scary because it's a small community. And I'm so happy to see the faces here because every one of you is a rock star. And the kind of value you will be able to bring is unquestionable. It's unquestionable. And so I would be shocked, you know. So I think you guys should definitely move with all your might. Just do it. Yeah, go ahead, Jan. Ashim, not Janvi. Go ahead.
So I'd just like to add in over here that it's definitely not scary. Absolutely not. डर के आगे जीत है. Okay. So just remember one thing. Whenever we pick up something new, we take a little bit time to understand what we need to do over there. And I think we have founders with us to brainstorm. And no matter whatever the idea is, as rightly said by Ankur and Bhakti, it's like a sounding board. Even if you're wrong, go ahead. Just state the idea that this is something that you want to do. Brainstorm on it. And you never know, it might turn out to be a session proposal or something very big. So I can just state it over here, my experience, that yes, it's like working in a group. It's like working in an organization where you have the opportunity to start something new. So this is the same place. You have the opportunity to start something new, create something new, and just go ahead with that, I would say.
Ramya, I'll also say one thing, right? Like not everyone needs validation of ideas, right? I think, like, I know where you're coming from. I feel like it also depends from person to person and idea to idea. So there will be some ideas that you're so dead sure that you'll be like, Bhakti, we have to do this, or whoever is in the AGB, we have to do this, right? And that's the conversation. And, if everyone's in agreement, we go ahead, whatever, right? The idea is that Ankur and I are here. There are certain checks and balances in place purely to make sure that at the end of the day, whatever is going out is of a certain quality. But then we also know that we are evolving as a community, and Ankur and I don't have all the answers. We obviously don't. We are like, we are also like figuring it out as we go along, and stuff like that. So we need people who are way smarter than us to really come in and say, okay, you know what, this is the direction we should go in, this is what we should do. And we're happy to collaborate in whatever way and form we can. Ankur, yeah, go ahead.
No, I think both of you have summed it up really nicely. I mean, in the sense that I think for the last 30 minutes, whatever we have been saying is the gist of it, that it's a very flexible role. It's a very dynamic role, organically, we'll be building it as we move. I mean, there is a JD, but then every day is a new day. But then also, I think one of the things that you should come with is this year, there are going to be 4 elected members of AGB and 4 nominated members of the AGB. So, if you do a fab good job of your election process, and we are really impressed. We both, me and Bhakti, are also having our eyes out on who are the people that we would love to nominate, and if we see that intent, and we see that fire in you in saying, "यार ये बंदा बहुत कुछ करना चाहता है," and so the founders also have a say in the process. It's not only the election process, but both me and Bhakti, when we come together and we entire candidate we see, and when we end the process, 4 are elected and 4 are nominated. So I really want all of you to also remember that, and that discussion is with us, the founders.
And that's a very important point, Ramya, Sagar, Ashita, everyone. We don't know how many nominations we're going to get, because people are still saying, oh, should we stand for this? Is this something that we want to take up? But in our experience, the nominated versus elected performance, there's a clear trend there as of last year. I won't tell you which direction it went, but read my mind. And so the point is that, like, we really want people who just going to drive stuff, right? Like, and this is, I know you're a part of some committees, etc. Many of us are part of different committees in different places. But the reason we steered clear from committees at this point was because they kind of become like this title that you have to turn up for a meeting, and many people don't turn up for that meeting. It's the same scene, right? So the idea is, even if, for example, we don't get enough nominations for any reason, we will go with what we have, and we will still do the elections, and we will still let people decide, and we'll still go with our 4 nominated and 4 elected. based on, we already have 4 nominations at this point, right? People who have self-nominated. We are assuming we will get a few more, right? The nomination process will happen and we will still nominate 4 people as founders, because these are folks that we've been watching that either are contributing or have the ability to contribute but need a little bit of a platform, saying that, we want you to do this, can you please do this, kind of a thing, right? So it's a combination. Any other questions, comments?
Okay, sorry, I have one more question. I'm
Yeah,
sorry if
yeah.
I'm holding up people. The only thing I think, so I think going back to Ashima's thing. So the scary part wasn't the getting in, because I adore both Pankaj and Bhakti, as all of you all do, and Bhakti and I have known each other for a long time. But it's more, I think the scary part was the elections. On could you address that, and I appreciate it. But the second part is TOC is like extremely social. I'm just curious, like I because me, Bhakti, I have like I am one homebody. Matlab, the ability to travel is very limited, very constrained. If things are happening in Hyderabad, very happy to. But is there any expectation of having to come for the meetups physically?
Zero.
Or
Zero.
Okay.
AGB is not, it's not mandated for you to attend there is no number. There's no like, you have to travel somewhere, you have to do this. There's no have to, except be available when it is pre-scheduled. If there is a meeting that we've discussed, if there's a project that's discussed, it's about those things. Socializing is a byproduct, because there are those who thrive in that networking and they're doing, what they're doing. And it's something like, I thrive in that networking. I find my energy in that networking, but that's not everyone, right? So everyone has their own way. And if you are Ramya, I completely understand. It's not just you. I'm sure there are others who don't want to come for every meetup and every party, even if it's in your own city. And that's fine. Like, you don't have to. You really don't. That's not a requirement.
Okay, so meetings happen virtually, I guess, right?
Yes.
That's fine. That's totally
We
fine.
will
Okay.
probably have one in person. This year, we are thinking of one in person for AGB, which we had done last year also in Delhi. There's one in person, which is again mutually discussed, decided, very well planned, and then we will figure it out. But it's again not like you have to be there. You know what I mean? If you can't, you can't. Then we beam you in. But I'm sure like whoever is in AGB would be like, okay, once in a year, yeah, I'd like to meet the other AGB members in person. It's as simple as that.
Thank you so much, guys. I'm sorry I have to run, but thank you so much.
Yeah,
No problem.
sure.
Thank you. So,
Thank you.
Bhakti, one more thing that we should do is the dates. We can run the dates by
Yes.
the nominee.
Yes. So the dates are, as you know, we've extended the deadline for self-nomination to the 30th. Okay. Just to give people more time, we realized that maybe you wanted more context. So here's the context. Go ahead, nominate yourselves. All right. The second thing is the deadline for voting is the 3rd of May. We will release all of this. But 30th is the nomination deadline. That's the most important deadline for you to know. The second is 3rd of May is the voting deadline. Then you have, 6th is the announcement and 17th of May is the introduction. All right. So that's basically what it is as of now. And yeah. It's pretty clear deadlines.
Yeah. So 30th of, can you hear me?
Yeah.
So 30th of April is the self-nomination deadline where you people can go and nominate yourself. I think that form is accessible to all of you. If you do not have access, please, ask for that in the WhatsApp group. We'll also share it again. But please do nominate yourself till Sunday. Then we have our voting process, which will happen till 3rd of May. And 6th of May, we declare the results, both for elected 4 and the nominated 4 AGB members that will form the next year AGB. The tenure is till 31st of March next year, so full year for all of you. And then we will have a town hall with the new elected members and the advisory, which will happen on 17th of May. So these are the timelines for the election process and then onwards. Yeah.
Also, just one thing, just because there's no like ban on if you've been in AGB in the past, you can't run again. Just
Yeah,
saying. Just saying.
yeah.
Just saying.
But
In
that's
fact,
a
it
great
puts you
clarification. I don't think we knew that.
in a great position to add more value.
Yeah.
I'm very serious. Okay. Well, anyway, if you guys have more questions, please DM us. Thank you for being here, making that effort. It means a lot. This is going to go a long way. Thank you guys for turning up. Ankit, I know your camera is not on, but I know you're here. Alifia, same for you. Thank you for turning up. Rupam, same for you. Veena, same for you. Thank you for turning up. And if you have any other questions, please DM us. All right. And we are very excited to work with all of you. AGB, no AGB. You clearly want to make some impact. Okay. So let's do it.
Yeah, let's
All
do
right,
it.
guys.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good evening ahead and look forward to working with all of you in coming days.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you, guys. Thank you
Bye-bye.
for the
Bye.
Janvi,
Bye.
I'll call you now.
Bye.
Okay.
Bye.